Okay, lads and lasses. So, the plan is to make a video game in this series of videos that I'm gonna be sharing here on Patreon, and then to make this videos informative and hopefully entertaining as well. Emphasis on hopefully. Emphasis on hopefully. Oh man. Also, I need to get used to the fact that I'm not gonna be editing much of these videos. So I can't just really do outtakes and just go back to it. I just need to learn to speak properly, which is gonna be really, really difficult. Also not cussing, which is gonna be even more difficult considering that we're gonna be programming a decent amount. In any case, set aside those little inconveniences, we're gonna be starting. So the game engine that I'm gonna be using is Unity, version is 2018. I'm using this because there's that's what I've got installed from work, so there you go. I'm gonna be using Visual Studio, again, install comes bundled with Unity, and we're gonna be making a game. Now, the game they're gonna be making is, and I thought very much about this. It could have, I wanted it to be a VR game regardless, but not something that is prohibitive for people to make, right? So what I want to do instead is make something that is sort of on a platform that is affordable and also something on a platform that's new, because I think that this is going to be the most interesting part of it all. So I decided to either go for the Oculus Go or the Daydream platform. Since I have at hand my phone and it supports Daydream, I have decided to go for Daydream. I do have an Oculus Go as well, still from the office, but since it's a newer platform and not many people have it, and at the same time the process for making a game for the Oculus Go is pretty much the same than the one for making it for Daydream. The buttons layout are almost exactly the same, apart from the fact that the Oculus Go has a trigger button that Daydream doesn't have. It's a bit more complete, fair enough. Also ergonomically a bit different. But before losing ourselves into this nonsense, what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be making a game for Daydream, and then it's going to be ported to the Oculus Go at the end of it, if there is time for it, which most definitely there is time for it, because it's not like somebody's running on our backs with a pitchfork. There we go. So, starting here, the game that I want to be making is a platformer, because I'm very much used to making VR platformers at this point, working with different games, and because I don't see many platformers, both on Daydream and on the Oculus Go. There's this stigma that people will have problems if you move them around. This is a big thing, but I don't think that is a big deal for us, for two main reasons. The first one being that people get accustomed to motion sickness in VR. It's called simulator sickness actually there, but they get accustomed to it with time, and this VR platforms have been out for a while, not the Go specifically, but VR for mobile and VR that is cheap and affordable for people, like on the Google Cardboard. Although it's not, it's not the cheapest thing, not affordable to everybody, but people that have it have had it for a long time now. And the second reason is I really don't care. I really couldn't care less about people puking or feeling sick. Which, of course, you don't want it specifically as a game designer or as a game developer in general, but at the same time, the beauty of this is that we can just slap a sticker in front of it, just in the loading screen, for example, and just going like, hey, this is a high motion game, be careful. If you are prone to this kind of situations or simulator sickness, or if you're feeling queasy, of course stop, but be careful going forward. And that's it. That's gonna be our insurance policy for the game. So first things first, I wanna be working on Daydream. So in Unity, we're gonna have to set up a couple of things. First being getting on developers.google.com and then going into the developer for Daydream, well, for Android with the Google VR SDK for Unity. You can probably do the same for, I think you can do the same for Unreal, but I've never actually tried because I don't like working with Unreal, and I don't think I even have it installed here. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to make sure that we have all the requirements for this, which I do. But if you don't go through all this stuff, it's pretty in-depth and pretty straightforward, step by step. There's a couple of things that are very notable here. First of all, here, the release page. You can open this up and it's going to get you to the latest version of the Google VR SDK. There's a few changes made here. I've gone through the changelog, but I'm not sure if it's worth going through the pain of making all these changes to my already existing knowledge that is not that extensive of this SDK. So I'm going to be using version 1.13 instead of going with the 1.15 that's here. And the other thing that is very notable and very, very nice is the instant preview app. So there is another step-by-step guide here to go through the setup process of instant preview, and what this allows you to do is to get your Daydream enabled device up and running, and it allows you to test on the device while you're running the application on the editor using the Daydream controller. So that's pretty neat, and I am definitely going to be doing this. I've done this already for the game we're making with different games. By the way, let's go Disaster Rally, and it will hopefully be nearly out when this video goes out, but who knows. Our deadline should be around the end of this month anyways, but this is not why you guys are here. Or girls. No, wait. Guys is non-gender specific, so it will do with that. So, back to Unity. Let's import this. So, assets, import package, custom. And we go into data, downloads, code, Unity, and then this one. Also, another thing that is very, very nice, Daydream Elements. If you want to develop for Daydream, I highly suggest you go into that, have a look at what's in there, because it's really, really neat. So it's gonna be preparing the package. In the meantime, I'd like to point out a quirk of Daydream that I don't think is general for everything, but it's definitely important in Daydream, and it's that if you're trying to change a scene, because I was thinking about the menu and the introduction, having the camera, you need to see the message and you need to go to the menu and then you need to select levels maybe, or whatever the case is. Whenever you're changing a scene within Unity, if you're destroying the camera object and recreating it, because of the way the Daydream SDK is working, you will not be able to continue your game. So we're gonna have to make some custom code for the changing of the scenes. But this is all things that are gonna go with just development. Reload the solution, of course. Well, and we shouldn't be waiting for much longer. This stuff is gonna be cut out regardless. I mean, in the sense that, if you are a supporter, if you're a fellow dev, actually, you'll be able to see this video in its entirety, which I have no idea why you would, apart from, going through the thought process, of course, but if you do decide to do that, then you'll see all this stuff. If not, you'll see the cut version, which still, I hope it's going to be pretty informative. Let's start. So, what I want to do first is to get a player up and running in a test scene. Since, as I said, this is going to be a platformer, what we're going to be doing into this particular video, which I don't want to make too long, is literally just going through the process of setting up the development environment. And then after we've done that, and we got a way to interact with Daydream using the controller, I would like to have a player being able to jetpack around, so that you point the controller, you press the button, and then you can use the physics engine to help you out there and just move around. So let's begin actually with the configuration of the Daydream controller. What I'm gonna be doing, I'm gonna be getting stuff from the demo scene, the Hello VR scene. Actually, let's test this out. So I forgot my connection cable, so I'm gonna go and get it. Et voila! Now, I am gonna be assuming that if you're going through this video, you already have gone through the setup process that I showed at the beginning of the video before starting development, because what happens there is you're gonna be able to have the Android SDK set up. It's fairly straightforward. You can go into Edit, Preferences, and from here you go into External Tools and you literally just download this stuff. Another thing that you want to do after that is go into the Edit, Project Settings, Player, and in here there's gonna be a section for Android down here, Publishing Settings. You need to get a key store done. Making a key store is extremely simple. You just create a new key store, you browse to save it, and then you just create a password to confirm it. You create an alias here. It's not hard at all, but I already have a key store, so I'm not going to be doing that. Plus, I'm not going to be building anything, so we're going to go through the process of creating a key store later on. And last thing, but also very important, in the XR settings we want to have virtual reality supported, and we want to add Daydream because we're going to be using that. The stereo rendering, I've tried single pass and it doesn't change much. Multipass is the standard anyways, but it's good. We just keep it at that. The difference is that there's not going to be any post-processing passes if you select single pass, and also the color space gets remapped for some reason that I have no clue why it's going on. I think that mobile devices don't support linear color space, so that it's gonna default to gamma. If you have no idea what that means, don't worry, because it really doesn't matter. The difference is that it's gonna be looking a bit weird, but this is stuff that you can also remap. First thing first is that. Second thing, you need to enable development options, so the developer options into the phone. This is something that again you can find a tutorial online. It's pretty simple, but it doesn't take long. It's just going to the settings and the Android info about the phone, and then you either tap like 10 times on the build number or something like that. It's one of them. Like it's fairly straightforward. You need to allow the phone data, and then it's gonna ask me if I wanna also get USB debugging enabled, which it's not asking me. That is interesting. Well, it doesn't matter too much. So let's get a Daydream headset now. Set it up as a standard one. I got this one actually from CEX used for £20, which I think it was a great buy, because the only thing it has is this little like markings on the inside, but I mean, who cares? The phone goes there. You never even see it. But yeah, there we go. So I'm just gonna place it like this so I can see it, and I place it in front of the computer. It doesn't matter too much because I want to have only controller support. I don't care about rendering the game on that phone. So everything is gonna be here regardless. So let's press play and see what happens. Okay, it's now asking me for USB debugging, which I'm gonna say yes. And this is gonna launch the the Instant Preview app on my phone. Oh, or maybe not, because there's failed to set up port forwarding. Let's try again. Maybe that's good. Okay, it's just saying that you need to set up target platform through Android, which of course we should have done. So to do this, we just go into the build settings, click on Android, and switch platform. This is another thing that takes a few minutes. Now, I am not assuming any specific level of competency for this series of videos. So I hope you already know how to use Unity, and I hope you already know how to program a little bit, because I'm not going to go through the basic concepts of, you know, classes and variables and loops and switches and data flow, data structures, common patterns. I'm not, programming design patterns. I'm not going to go through that stuff, although if you do want to look into it, there are a lot of very nice tutorials. I can't really point you out in any specific direction at the moment because I don't have them in my head, but for next video I think I probably should find a few nice ones. I know Breakis does a nice one, there's a nice series of tutorials, but in general this is not a beginner's tutorial, this is not necessarily even an advanced tutorial, but I am assuming that you know a bit of what we're doing, because this is games development after all. So let's try again, pressing play, and that should get us, voila, in there. This is launching the Instant Preview app on my phone. You can download this, by the way, from the app store, or it can be directly set up from where is it? There you go. Here it just goes like install APK and run, and then it does that. What I'm gonna be doing is that now turning on the controller by long pressing the button as if it was in Daydream, and now we'll try and pair it with my phone, and as soon as it's done it, I should have my controller there. It's now in search mode for some reason. This can happen, by the way, it happened already last time I've tried, today even in the office. What the solution is, I found, is to just get into Daydream. So I turn the phone, and it now should just go and ask me to turn on the controller, which I can do here. And as soon as it's paired, oh, am I there? I'm not there. I don't know. What's going on? Yes, hand-eye coordination, one of those things. Bollocks. No. Okay. Yes. Open up Daydream. Oh no! Wait, hey! Okay, fine. Wait for controller. Place the device inside the Daydream headset. Right on. I'm cheating. Yes, okay, we have controller. Now close this down. It's the beauty of preparing yourself in advance. Kids, stay in school. Okay, trying again. Starting this one. Connecting the controller. Controller connected. I can now point at things. Look at that. Now I can also use the Alt modifier to look around, so I can have a look at the controller, and it's perfectly fine. Working amazing, but in need of a bit of charge. No big deal. That is great. So we have everything set up. What I want to do now is I want to copy this stuff. Not the demo input manager, but the player, definitely, because the player has the main camera and the controller pointer. So I'm going to be copying this stuff. I can just, yeah, probably should do it like this. And then I'm gonna create a new scene, and that is gonna be my main scene. Paste. Now, the player should be tagged as player, just in general. And I also wanna make 000. No, that's, yeah, it's fine, 1.6, whatever, any height will do. Second step, after getting everything up and running, is I want to get the player to move. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be creating some geometry. In here, I'm gonna be creating a cube. Boom, 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 boom. Just as a starting point. Actually, no, let's make this like big. Let's make this big. And it's very unspecific as well. Not the biggest fan of that. And then, do I have any text that I can just conjure up? Probably I can steal some of the Google VR games. Well, first of all, let's create a folder, underscore game. I put the underscore so that it goes up there. So it's the first folder of the bunch. I'm gonna create a scenes folder where I'm gonna save this scene. Testbed, and then I'm gonna go and create another folder for code, and finally one for materials. I'm gonna create a ground material. Now, I'm gonna be using the Google VR. No, where is it? I could use one of those. Like, they're decent. They're decent materials. But what I usually end up using is just the mobile materials. So a mobile diffuse will do. Plus, we're probably gonna make in our own shaders later on. Yeah, something like that. It's fine. I want to have it tiled a bunch. Just so you know, there's some visual reference that I'm gonna be sourcing some other materials later on. I'm gonna be creating some as well, but for the time being, right? Actually, no, you know what? I'm gonna make it sand. Sand, tileable texture. I don't even want to make it like, I don't want to spend too much time finding something that's free at the moment, because we're gonna be changing it. I just want to have something nice, you know? Yeah, this is nice. That is good. Oh, something like warmer. There's like copyrights everywhere though. Fine, okay. Where is it? Save image as. Save image as. There you go. With D, projects, and the Patreon platformer, assets, game, textures, sand. There you go. Let's actually put some sand in then. Boom, and have something like 10 by 10. It's very nice sand. Look at this beauty. We could even have like some normal mapping. Not now though. Now we're gonna work on the player. Now, I wanna have. Okay, the player should have a rigid body. And the player should also have a capsule collider. There we go. So that's us. Height of this is gonna be 2. And the center is gonna be at 0.5. Sorry, minus 0.5. Look at this. This is amazing. Now, what I want to do, of course, is set some constraints to the rigid body. It's not gonna be rotating by any stretch of the imagination, but If I now set this here, we're gonna have the player falling down onto the cube, the ground. So that's good. That's actually great. So my camera here, first of all, you know, skybox. We have a skybox. This is the clear flags. They're gonna become useful soon because of that issue that I specified before about the camera having to be persistent. So we're gonna be using clear flags to have a second depth camera for the transitions. It's quite nice. Like, we'll go through it at some point during these tutorials, to have like perfectly smooth transitions with fades in and fades out. It's really nice. Now we're here. What I want to do is to have a player script, player class, because it's time to code, right? What I want to let it compile. That's probably gonna be an issue. I don't know if you guys get the same issue, but whenever I create a new file, it goes into the miscellaneous files instead of getting built into the project. It's quite annoying. So I can either close Visual Studio down and reopen the project, or just add an existing item, but that means I need to create an existing code folder. So I'm just going to be closing this one and open it again. It doesn't take much because I got it on the SSD, but it's still annoying. Like, it's quite annoying. Okay, so work. Well done, I guess. Well, at least we have the folder structure now, so... Oh, wait. So yeah, fine. So I usually just add an existing item and just go find the file and just import it. So it just goes into the Patreon platform. It is important because if it's not in the same namespace, it doesn't import mono behavior. At the moment, we're not going to be using this. And let's set this up. I like a bit of neat code. If you can't take pride in the way you format code, why do you even write it? So, agent member variables. And I know this statement is gonna be coming back to haunt me later on. It's gonna bite me in the ass. Okay. In the beginning, we want to have a reference to a rigid body because we're gonna be using that to float around using our jetpack. So, private rigid body RB. I'm using Hungarian notation as well. If you're not, you're wrong. Fight me. And then we're just gonna take RB equals, of course, get component rigid body. What I also want to be doing is I want to be getting some information from the controller. Now, the way we do this is there's probably an input demo here at some point. Demo input manager, probably. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Controller. Is there anything here? Controller. Controller name. Controller pointer. Ah, come on, I can do that. There's a better way though. There's a better way. Controller input. There you go. Controller input is a really nice class. GVR controller input. It's a static class that allows us to get information about the controller. Aha, I mean, redundant, but that's what you get. So, for example, if I want to have my rotations, I can go GVR controller input dot. There's just a few methods, but I can also go And a few delegates and events as well. That's pretty nice. But I can get the orientation, for example. That returns a quaternion that I can turn into a vector 3 and then get the direction of it. But a quaternion is already a rotation, so I can apply it. And actually, let's do that, right? So on update, I want to have my direction. And we're gonna turn this orientation into Euler angles. Oh no, wait, sorry, it's been a while. Man, they deprecated it. I mean, of course, like, what's the point? And then I want to have the, if I'm pressing the button here on the controller, so GVR controller input dot that's a click button. Yep, if I'm holding the button, I want to add force using the direction, and we multiply it by public float. I don't know. It's not strength, is it? Yeah, boost power. Cool. And then we need to specify the force type. Force mode is gonna be, you know what? Am I ignoring the mass? No, I think we need to use the mass. Do we? What's the benefits of it? I can't really think of any benefits, but it's usually better to consider the mass in this kind of calculations. So that's pretty straightforward. And also about the Hungarian notation, you see the M underscore. If you go into the player script afterwards, after it's done compiling, Unity will recognize that that's the notation, as you can see. So again, fight me. Let's test this. Play. Let's get the controller up and running. Bam, there you go. That's the input. And if I press this, boost power is obviously 0, but let's with 1. Oof. Feck. Wait, oh! Oh, wrong. I'm used to changing screens. Wrong. Or not. No, this is correct. But then again, you know, let's use fixed update because we're actually using physics-based simulation calculation. So the golden rule is, if you're changing a rigid body or if you're doing any physics calculations, use fixed update. I don't think this is gonna change much, but hey, I mean, mass is 1. This Greek collision, this guy is correct. Gravity is on. I don't know why it's so strong. Let's try again. Oh my god. Why are you so fast? What the? Okay. Let's put a 0.1. Right? Let's put a 0.1 and see what's going on. That is a lot of speed. Okay, first of all, it's just going where he wants. Oh, it's also going in the opposite direction. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Oh, I done it again. That's pretty good. Okay, we have the player moving. It's not doing what we want. but that's good. That's good. What is the orientation? So let's have a look. The controller's current orientation is space as a quaternium. Orientation is relative to the last time the user returned to the controller. The object was seen to have the same orientation. What does it say? Return the object's transform rotation. Transform the rotation instead. Okay. That's okay. But why? Why is doing that then? Ah. I should probably normalize this. In general, it's always a good idea to normalize your direction vectors. Obviously don't normalize the position vectors, but do normalize directions. Okay. So that's okay, that's great, that's better. Now it doesn't jump as much because we normalized it. So we gotta go up to get a response. We're going towards the right regardless. That is interesting. We're going always towards the right. Okay. I keep on doing that. I mean, it's really funny that we already are having issues and we just barely started coding. That's great. But as programmers, we often tell you, programming is 90% debugging. Not that there's any bugs here, but this case would be deglitching. So my direction, let's go in there. It's got my rigid body. Get my direction here, so that's my orientation. You know, just for shits and giggles, let's work with transforms instead, right? So public transform controller. It's gonna be what we use here. So instead, it's controller dot rotation dot Euler angles dot normalized. That's what we're gonna be doing instead. And I'm just gonna assign the controller by doing this, really. Boom. Let's see if it's the same. Oh, yeah, of course. This has to go up to 10 again. We're always going right. Why? There's no way for me to go anything other than right. Oh, I can go forward, but why? How does this even work? I've got the controller. Okay. Maybe it's because I'm... Okay. No. First of all, no. You should not be there. Damn it. Anyways, if I'm going right, of course I should be going right. Okay. Not bad. But if I'm pointing left, I should be going left. I might have triggered a lot of people for a lot of time, and I do apologize for that. I really do apologize. Oh man, I'm so sorry. So sorry. Sorry. Controller.forward. We want to have the forward vector of the controller, of course. Of what's the point, right? Oh my god. I am very sorry. There we go. Okay. This should solve everything. Oh my god. I am so sorry. So very sorry. Okay, so pointing left, I go left. Pointing up, I go up. But not too much because it's only 10. But I can finally control this, so I can just go forward, left, you know. It's okay, I can finally control this, so having something like maybe a 15 on my jetpack, that's gonna be good. So there you go. Yeah, I can now fly around. Yep, that feels alright. Another couple of things before wrapping up this video is I wanna add a way for the boosters to be depleted if you're not on the ground. Not on the ground. Sorry, if you're boosting, I want your boosters to be depleted, and then I would like to cap the player speed, the player's maximum velocity. So I keep on doing that. So there we go. First of all, let's have another public float maximum velocity, and then I want to have some sort of like depletion time here. Boosters depletion time. Yep. I think a couple more things could go in there, but after that. Okay, so what I'm gonna be doing, if you are clicking the button, I want the fuel, of course. So sorry, depletion, not time but rate, and then I'm gonna have public float booster. It's a single booster. Fuel. So if you hold Alt and up and down, you can move anything that's selected up and down. That's just nice. And if you hold Alt and Shift, you can box select and change stuff. Just a quick Visual Studio tip, I guess. So for doing that, I wanna have maybe we should be using a lerp instead. You know what? Let's use lerps. Right. So I'm gonna have my booster fuel being depleted in a linear way, linear interpolation between booster fuel amount that's already there, 0, and a time t. Time is supposed to be how long does it take from 1 being instantaneous to 0 being it never happens, right? 0.1, this is considered in delta time space, let's say. So 0.1 would be a second, right? 0.1 might be a bit too little, so I'm gonna divide that by 5, giving it 5 seconds for us to deplete this. Again, I might be wrong on this, but if I am wrong, I'm just gonna rectify in the next video or later on. This should be the calculations, should be alright. Now, what I want to do as well, if I want to make a check here. So if I'm clicking the button, that's fine. But I also want to be having some fuel. So if the booster fuel is larger than 0, 0.2 actually, 0.2f, and I'm using these values. I know they're magic numbers, and I know I shouldn't be using magic numbers, but what I want to do is just want to make sure that the thing depletes in 5 seconds. And I will change it later on, maybe. Or maybe you can do it. I mean, you can just follow up and do exactly what I'm doing and make your own version. So, else, actually, no. This should be in a separate thing. So, if I'm clicking the button, and if I want to have a nested if, Control X to, oh, what am I doing? Okay, Control X to delete an entire line. So here as well, Control X. So else, if I'm not clicking the button, well, let's actually get back on track to where we were. So let's get the fuel back online, but this time in 10 seconds, right? So it should deplete faster than it replenishes. 10 seconds are way too much, actually. So let's have a recharge in maybe 7 seconds completely, right? That's fine. So let's give this a shot by also printing up the fuel. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Booster fuel, let's actually just give it a default value of 1, right? Just cause at least we have it there. We're gonna see it on the console, so we don't need to clear this up now. Maximum velocity, this is another thing, we're just gonna implement it just after this, but there you go. Let's clear this. Yes, okay, sorry, I'm an idiot. I am an idiot. Boom. That's just, yeah. I mean, it was just going down. There you go. So it's 1, and it stays at 1. Now, yeah, so controller, then just go 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay. But there you go, 3 seconds of flight. That can be expanded to 5 if I go into just not idiot territory. Why would it have to be 0.2? Because I was thinking I'm doing it differently, obviously, but then I haven't, obviously. So there you go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're keeping on boosting. .01f, like, you know, just a tenth, because it never will go to 0. It's a linear interpolation on top of another one, so it will stay very close to 0 without never actually hitting 0, but it will hit 0.01. It will just take a while. Let's see when we're comfortable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. It takes forever. Maybe I should go for something different without lerps, you know, because a lerp is nice, but it's a bit unreliable in this case. You know what? You know what? It doesn't matter. I'll keep the lerp and have this as 0.1. Because it's not a big deal. Right? It's really not a big deal. It's fine. What I can do instead is I can put this to 2. It's going to be a bit more reliable. Because the time doesn't change, but the percentage does. Right? Oh. Oh, yes, it's going to 1. Sure. You know what? You know what? You know what? I'm actually gonna be implementing a private variable. Create float initial fuel. And then initial fuel is obviously gonna be equal to the booster fuel. And then I'm gonna be doing this. So we're going back to the initial fuel. There we go. Right. It's always like this. Like, if you're looking for whether or not you should be checking this channel out more, this pattern out more, the answer is probably not if you don't like this. Also, I was really high. Or was I not? I was under the everything. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, wait. Let's try again. Ctrl P is to go in out of play mode, by the way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then stops. And I'm falling. Okay, okay, okay. Well, 5 is obviously too much. 3 will be fine. And 5 for regaining stuff. Just so we can double check. One, 2, 3, and stop. One, 2, 3, and stop. Okay. Okay, okay. Maybe even that is a bit too much, or maybe the boost power is too strong. Maybe I should do it like 12, right? Is like way more. Nice. Okay. There's no drag at the moment or anything like that. Let's just implement the maximum. I keep on doing that. Let's implement the maximum velocity. So here, cap velocity. I just get the rigid body dot velocity. So vector 3 vel equals mrv dot linear velocity. Oh, velocity, and then I'm just gonna go like if vel dot magnitude is larger than maximum velocity, then we remap it. So vel equals, well, I can just go like vel dot normalized multiplied by the maximum velocity, and that's it, remapped, and then we apply that to the velocity equals vel. There you go. So in this way we get the velocity, we calculate if the magnitude, which is the length of the velocity vector, is larger than the maximum velocity. They're both floats. Then the velocity will be equal to the normalized velocity. Normalized means a unit vector, multiplied by the maximum velocity, so we cap it at that, and then we apply that to the velocity of the rigid body, which means now the player cannot go faster than that. So if I set that, for example, to 1, we'll see that the player will be extremely slow in its movement, even though we have seen him go relatively fast. So let's go. You see it's very, very slow. Very, 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 very slow. There we go. 1 is obviously not what we want, but something like 15 maybe. That's more akin to it. This is very arbitrary, by the way. This is in units per second. It's just so that, you know, when we're falling too fast, we kind of like stop falling that fast. It doesn't feel very natural, but if you feel like, if you find something like 30, for example, you know, like let's never go that fast. It's just so that if the player has to fall great lengths, he finds that critical velocity that, you know, we're so used to in physics. So let's just clean up here. Just a second. This is gonna be handle input, and then we're just gonna be stopping with the printing of the booster fuel, and this is us done for our first session. Right, save the scene. That's pretty alright. So next time we're gonna be looking into more advanced movement mechanics, because what I want to do is I want to give this guy a grappling hook and a way to move around. So it's probably going to be something like, you know, you press the upper part for the grappling hook and the lower part for the boosting, for fine-tuning of the movement, because I want to make this a platformer full of like hazards, sort of like Windlands. That is a game that you can find in well, PlayStation VR, Oculus, and Vive as well. Sort of like that, sort of like Windlands, but Windlands is very chilled and doesn't have much in the sense of like danger when it comes to platforming. What I want to do is instead is just add danger. Yeah, there we go. That was first one. I hope it went well, and yeah, see you all next time.